Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cloud Security Alliance's Cloud Trust Summit 2024. Thank you for joining us today. In this session, we're going to talk about SSE and secure and access from everywhere, even in the cloud. My name is Jay Tilson, and I'm joined by my friend and my colleague, Mr. John Spiegel. Together, John and I have over 50 years of enterprise experience running large infrastructure and security teams. We spent the bulk of our career sitting in your chairs, and I've experienced the same daily challenges as you. And not just those technical challenges, but the cultural, budget and resource challenges also. We believe that stitching together a bunch of solutions that worked in the early 2000s no longer works in this new world of a hybrid workforce. And there are better ways of doing things. So let's get started. The enterprise is undergoing the most significant transformation in history. Companies are adopting cloud services like never before, with many having a cloud-first approach. This means that the legacy systems that always used to be on-prem are now being moved to things like software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service. There has been a huge rise in the number of IoT devices in use as well, and statistics show that there will be more than 15 billion IoT devices connected to the enterprise infrastructure by 2029. The pandemic also created a massive shift in our workforce, with hybrid work now being the norm, with more than 50% of our workforce expected to be remote part-time or all of the time. This means our users, their devices, our data, and our applications are now everywhere. And these huge changes require a new approach when it comes to networking and security, to keep everything safe and fast and secure. Our legacy solutions are no longer sufficient, with more and more companies being compromised. And statistics show that the average cost of a data breach now stands at $4.8 million, up more than 25% since 2022. I want to discuss some more statistics before we move on. But let's just discuss one more and let it sink in for a while. 80% of IT organizations found IoT devices on their networks that they either did not install or cannot secure. So let that sink in for just a while. So let's discuss some more scary statistics. In 2023, there was a 270% increase in social engineering threats over what had been previously seen in 2021. And this number is expected to rise even higher in 2024. This rise has led to over 1 out of 5 companies falling victim to some form of ransomware attack. And this trend is increasing at an alarming rate. This concern is what is on the mind of the CISO every time John and I speak to them when we're in the field. And what do they believe is the biggest risk? Legacy VPN solutions. 92% are concerned that legacy VPN solutions are going to jeopardize their environments. And this really shouldn't be a surprise. We have all seen in the press recently that huge increase in the attacks against legacy VPNs, and it's really quite scary. We should remember that these solutions have been around for decades, and they are considered mature, and therefore in a state where companies do not even invest in their future. Unfortunately for us, the companies who sell them are only interested in maintenance releases, and that's it. Recently, in conjunction with Cybersecurity Insiders, we did a VPN survey, and John is going to speak more about that further now.
Thank you, Jay. Yes, cyber is in the news almost every day. Just look over the past 12 months. Lockbit, Caesars, MGM. And the story? It's the same. It's like an 80s sitcom. You get phished for an identity. Then you create MFA fatigue. You get in. You move on to the IDP. You increase your privileges. You then move laterally. You then find critical data. Maybe it's important, or maybe it's embarrassing. You leak it, maybe you hold it, or even do what is new. Leave the door open and offer it up access to other cyber criminals. It's easy to understand why these results are scary. Only 1/3 of the respondents to the VPN risk report are confident in their solutions. That's a good number if you're a baseball player, but it's a very bad number if you're trying to secure your key assets. An often mentioned risk: legacy hardware VPNs. Well, an essential appendage for the more modern business, it has become a risk due to the due to the explosion of cybercrime, which is expected to cost somewhere right around $10.5 trillion in 2025, according to the analyst firm McKinsey. Just this month, both large and small and big box vendors, and even the top platform security vendors, got called out for vulnerable code in their hardware VPN solutions. And these are not just small or medium issues here. They received a full 10 in the Common Vulnerabilities and Exposure Score, or CVE. Well, a 10 is elite in sports. In the cybersecurity world, a 10 means fix it now or turn it off. Added to that, since 2021, there have been 314 VPN vulnerabilities discovered, with an average score of 7.4. Any score above 7 is rated high. Common issues include code execution and injection, denial of service, information disclosure, and even most concerning, privilege escalation. And of these 314 discovered issues, at least 20 of them, according to CISA, are known to be actively exploited. In the situation, it's not improving. During 2024, an estimated 22% increase in reported vulnerabilities are expected. Is there hope? We'll get into that soon. But first, let's dive into some of the top business challenges and security priorities for 2024. And here they are, the top 6. What's the biggest business challenge facing both network and security teams? First, we must accelerate and reduce the friction on the employee. They're there to do a job. Ours is not to get in the way. If we can provide them with speed, and keyword here, security, that is the goal we're striving for. Next up is zero trust programs. This is a long journey. The better question to ask here is, how can I accelerate my program and get a quick win? Later in the webinar, we'll talk about a CISO who did just this. 3 and 4 tie together. You need application visibility to understand and see your data. If you can see it, you can secure it. The remaining items are central to our uncertain economic climate. How do I do more with less? How do I obtain greater results from my network and security portfolios? How can I reduce the burden of my run activities and spend more resources on revenue-generating projects? In the next few minutes, Jay will detail out how SSE can help you achieve these objectives with a network and security convergence. And customers, they're the key. Their challenges are similar to yours. They are the storytellers who help us on our journey to network and security convergence. For instance, take Delta Dental. Their obstacle was multiple flavors of VPN, each from a different time, a different merger and acquisition, or maybe just different leadership. The results: complexity, cost, and employee frustration. Do I use this VPN to access the dental records? Do I use another to enter patient information? Their CISO worked with their CIO to consolidate. But the CISO had a greater vision. How do I supercharge my zero trust program? He did it with an agentless approach. Key applications were placed behind a ZTNA platform. The result: easier to manage, lower costs, and better business outcomes. Or maybe it's like UKG. They decided to reduce their vendor landscape by moving to a full unified SASE solution. Consolidate key security products like VPN, SWIG, CASB, DLP, and then add in SD-WAN, all from a single vendor. The impact for them: reduced number of vendors to keep track of, reduced operational costs, greater visibility, and most important of all, DEM, or digital experience monitoring. This allows you to understand how line of business applications are performing. If they're slow, why is it? Is it the network? Is it the device? Is it something else? The benefit here: shift left what in the past was engineering work. move it to operations? And finally, how do you migrate quickly to a new point of sale system, secure it, while also transforming both your network and security solutions? VisionWorks did this with a cloud-based ZTNA program. Retail transactions backed with a zero trust approach, while also jumpstarting a network and data center transformation. Greater security outcomes and lower costs. It's more than just moving off VPN. That's really what SSE is about. So how do you do it? Let's show you the roadmap. The route of moving off the legacy castle and moat model to the SSE framework is a journey. Like any journey, you need to plan ahead. And this is a long walk. And if anyone tells you otherwise, question it. Why is this so? Because you're taking what in the past were multiple point products and replacing them with an integrated approach built to solve today's business challenges. Distributed applications, data in every corner of the internet, and now what we call the distributed workforce, also known as the hybrid workforce. To do that, you need to consider your IT budgets, your resource budgets, your networks, as well as your peers in both the network and security teams. You need to seek alignment here. If you do, and you take the time to plan your journey, you will see success and realize a better outcome. But where you start, that's up to you. It's really here about solving business challenges. It's about creating outcomes for your company. Use this slide as a guide. From my perspective, we've seen a lot of success starting with an agentless approach for third-party access. Move off those legacy VPN devices. They're just too risky. According to an article in Dark Reading, 60% of breaches start with third parties or involve them. Gain a quick win with ZTNA access. Secure your network and protect against lateral movement. Agentless access is a great place to start and starts to make those quick wins for your business. Then continue the walk. Secure your workforce with a SWIG. Secure your SaaS applications with a CASB. The key here is to put one foot in front of the other. Start the journey. So what's next? Reach out to an expert. Or maybe you want to understand the value of this approach and get a value assessment. We will work with you and your teams to help you understand how to get the best value from your purchase. What tools should you consolidate? And how should you retire that old hardware? And if you want to see more of the product, reach out. We also have a test drive. Or download the SSE adoption report. Learn more about why companies are making the move to SSE. It's really up to you. So just pick a path.
Thanks for that, John. Before we move on, I just want to remind everyone about the three approaches in which we can secure our workforce today. So firstly, we have the hub and spoke design. This is really a progression from the old castle and moat design where everyone was inside the perimeter. But this design still focused on having on-prem security, even though users and their data had started to move to the cloud. With this design, there is still a heavy reliance on MPLS and internal data centers, as well as those risky VPN solutions that I've just talked about. In my experience, this model is complex to configure and to administrate. You need to feed and water the applications to ensure that they remain secure. And you also have to go through hardware renewal cycles and continually patch all of your systems to protect them against attack. Getting downtime to do this patching is extremely difficult, as more often than not, these systems are in play 24/7. So another option is virtualized cloud firewalls. This is really an evolution of hub and spoke design, moving some of those legacy-based security systems that ran on-prem and ran on hardware to cloud-based solutions. This was driven by the firewall vendors who really wanted to protect their revenues and continue to sell tin. The main aim here was really to remove some of the burdens of keeping those systems secure. However, in a lot of cases, this still meant backhauling internet traffic to the data center and still relying on those risky VPN solutions. So although this design was supposed to make things simpler to manage, in my experience, it really led to more complexity and cost. Then there is SSE. In my mind, this is a solution that is built today for today. And it really takes into account that our applications, our data, users and their devices are now everywhere. So let's talk a bit about what people are asking for from a modern SSE solution. They want a solution that is built from the ground up with simplicity in mind. And we all know that complexity really doesn't make for a good security design. They want a single solution from a single vendor with a single UI, a single data lake, and a single reporting engine across all elements of SSE. They really want a solution that is built from the ground up with zero trust as part of its DNA. People do not want a bunch of separately acquired or developed products brought together into a portfolio. That's way too complex to manage and to administrate, and often leads to frustration from IT and security teams as well as from the users. They want a secure access from any type of user, whether they're enterprise employees or those hard to manage third-party and contractors, where installing an agent is impossible. They want to give access to all of their resources, including private applications, SaaS applications, or the internet, and all from a single UI. They also want a solution built today for today, and they realize now that architecture matters. They want a solution that is built on top of cloud giants with all of the features of SSE being available everywhere, rather than a solution that is built in a legacy data center on top of tin. This does not make for a flexible or elastic solution that can grow to meet their needs. They also don't want to have their users go into different POPs for different features of SSE. Instead, all POPs should offer all features. The architecture really should eliminate bandwidth problems, be resilient and redundant, and offer the best possible experience for all types of users. And most importantly, it's critical for their users to always get the fastest possible access to resources from wherever they are, without the need to backhaul to the corporate network, relying on legacy VPNs or firewalls. So let's dive a little bit deeper. When you look at the SSE market, you will find that each vendor has a solution that emphasizes one of these core technology areas. It could be Secure Web Gateway, as the company started there. Or maybe it's Cloud Access Security Broker, as that is where their target market was and then what they were looking to be competitive in. Then the other technologies were added via acquisition or built as a separate product. However, as we discussed, what people want in today's world is very different. They do not want complexity. They want simplicity. They want a product that is about transitioning into a newer security strategy based on zero trust. Their platform should be designed to provide the resources required to perform a function and nothing more. And then if anything changes, then access should be quickly adapted or revoked. Third-party and contractor access is seen as the biggest risk by many people that I talk to. And this means that many are starting their SSE journey with a solution for these difficult users. They want agentless zero trust network access for the third party and contractors where an agent is impossible to deploy. They also want a tool to support all ports and protocols, as well as server initiated flows so that they can fully replace those risky VPN technologies. They also want in the same solution a secure web gateway for securing their employees from internet-based threats. But it needs to be more than just blocking based on category. It needs to also have DNS controls and SSL inspection for malware protection. Then there is CASB. They want to be able to secure SaaS applications such as SharePoint, Facebook, and Salesforce. And they also want to be able to control upload and downloads. But again, it needs to be in a single user interface. And lastly, there is DEM, Digital Experience Monitoring. When our users left our castle and moats, we lost a lot of visibility. And customers want to monitor user performance and to be able to troubleshoot user access issues. But again, it still needs to be in that single user interface. Thank you everyone for taking the time to spend with John and myself today on the Cloud Trust Summit 2024. If you have any questions about SSE, please feel free to reach out and contact either of us. Thanks again for your time.